It is the Orange and Blue Report presented by the UVA Health System as we come to you from the McHugh Center after day one of spring practice. Joined now by quarterbacks coach Jason Beck. I'm Dave Koehn. And Jason, one down, 14 to go. And for you, you have one of the spots that I think a lot of people always intrigued by, certainly the quarterback position, but this year maybe even more so than normal because you've got two new faces added to the mix in the form of the transfer Bryce Perkins and Brennan Armstrong, a freshman who's here early enrolled. Give me your early feedback. What did you see in day one, and what are you looking to see in the ensuing days?
You know, I thought they really knew their assignments. They were dialed in on communicating what was going on and having their first keys down. And so I was impressed with that. I thought their effort was good, and so I was pleased with day one. You know, you don't quite know what to expect sometimes when guys are out there for the first day. But they had a good first practice. This spring, we're just looking to improve every day, just make steady improvement, steady strides. We're trying to really get a feeling of what these guys can do at a high level and adapt to what they can do as they learn and execute at a much higher level to help the offense go.
After practice, Coach Mendenhall had mentioned, he used the word dynamic to describe Bryce Perkins and what he can bring to the field. What would you describe his skill set like? And obviously it changes this offense and changes the way this team ultimately executes.
Yeah, I mean, he brings a run threat with his legs. His ability to really just pull the ball down and go will be a threat for the defense and a threat for us to be able to utilize. But I've really been impressed with how hard he works, studying the playbook to know what he's doing and to communicate with the guys around him so they're all buying into him as a player and what he's doing.
It's all new for Brennan Armstrong, a first-year player. How much is he trying to digest right now, and what kind of a learning curve is there for him?
Yeah, I mean, a different scenario. He's brand new to college football. What does that look like? How does practice work? You know, what's that crossover like? And it's just a big adjustment from the high school level. And so he wasn't overwhelmed. It wasn't too big for him. He was able to jump in there, communicate the plays, execute his reads. Obviously a lot of things to improve, but I was pleased. You know, sometimes you get in the huddle and those guys can't even remember what to say. And they just go blank, and that didn't happen to him at all. He jumped in there. He's, you know, filling it out in terms of what does this look like and how does it happen. But he's too is working hard and studying and had a good first day.
Well, while those guys are the two new faces, at least under center for Virginia, it's not as though the other guys aren't learning through this process as well, because you bring a mobile quarterback and it changes the playbook up. How much are the other guys having to learn as well in terms of changing this offense, whether it's offensive line, receivers, or running backs?
You know, there's a core that is similar, but there is a new emphasis and a new core that everybody is learning and picking up. And so as we make that shift, that affects the whole offense. But the guys that are coming back, you know, they're starting with a big chunk, a big core of that understanding, and where they're helping the quarterbacks with that, to pick that up. And so for everybody, there's a chunk that's new, but for the returning guys, a good core of that's back in terms of the terminology, formations, a lot of similarities that way.
All right. Well, thank you, as always, for your time today. Jason Beck, quarterback coach for the Cavaliers. It'll be a fun one to watch this team evolve through the season here and through spring practice, for that matter.
Yeah, you bet. Good being on with you.
All right. Well, again, we are counting the days to the spring game coming up on April the 28th over at Scott Stadium. But as we mentioned, still 14 practices left here this spring for the Cavaliers.